Welcome to the Service MVP podcast, and my name is Joe Crisara, America's Service Sales Coach. And we have with us today Michelle France from the Ductless Playbook, and she also has the Ductless Directory as a vehicle to make sure that contractors dominate. So today is going to be 3 things you can do to dominate ductless in your market. Michelle, welcome to our show. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here because I have such great respect for you and what you're doing. Very impressive. And so thanks for having me.
Well, we've been walking on parallel paths. We've been trying to achieve the same mission, which is to show people how to differentiate their services by I say the future of heating and air conditioning, future of comfort. It is built into somewhere into ductless, and of course, the ductless solution is getting better and better every single year. So definitely, we're on the same initiative. We share the same passion for that. Michelle, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about how you got to the point where you help contractors by dominating ductless in their market? How did you get to this position where you're at right now?
I love this question. People refer to me in a lot of different ways. They call me the Duchess of Ductless and the Ductless marketing expert. And most recently, I got called the Ductless dominatrix. Like, okay.
Hey, you'll take it. You'll take it.
That's pretty crazy. But it's true. And so I love the backstory. Like, how do any of us really arrive where we arrive? And so my story starts really after 9/11. And at the time, I was working for a really big web development IT consulting company that went bankrupt after 9/11. And so it was one of those, oh, crap, like, what am I going to do? So I thought, well, I know how to do websites and marketing, so I'll start my company. And my company is Smarty Pants. And I always worked with contractors, but at the beginning of my career, it was more home builders and remodelers was the contractor group that I worked with. I was a member of the Portland Home Builder Association. And during that time, I did a website for one HVAC contractor, and this becomes really important in just a second. And I did a website for that contractor, full service H contractor in, I'm going to say 2005. But now let's fast forward to 2008, and it's the next big buzzkill of that decade, right? And in 2008, we know what happened, right? It was just like this big recession. The home builders were dropping like flies. Remodeling came to a halt. I mean, it was scary. And it was actually even scary for me because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to hang on to my company because everything dried up. And this is that magical turning point where everything changed. And it was that one HVAC contractor. And he reached out to me 2008. And he's like, Michelle, I need $20,000 just to break even. And this is a guy that's got a big sheet metal shop, parts, inventory, sales teams, this, that, and the other. And he said, it ain't cutting it. I'm not making that kind of profit on a monthly basis. As a matter of fact, I'm tapping into my RA and my savings to keep my company afloat. And he asked this question, Michelle, you did such a great job on my website. Can you help me become #1 in the search for a ductless heat pump? And then you would have heard this big, long silence because I'm like, what? Ductless, what? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And then I responded and I was so excited to have somebody to actually help. And I was like, yes, I can make you #1 in the search. So I read all about it. He was a Fujitsu player at the time. He sent me some spec sheets and whatever. I read it and I'm like, wow, this is really fascinating. And this is all happening in the Pacific Northwest where green and energy efficiency. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of people with a baseboard heating, which is so expensive. And I was like, hey, from a marketing point of view, I go, I love a niche and I love seeing this opportunity. So we went on to work on his website. We added this whole ductless section. And then realized that the salespeople were going out. It was a perfect storm also because there was the federal rebate dollars for $1,500. There was someone in the Columbia newspaper that was talking about green energy. And hello. So this was all happening all at once. And so at one time, we just kept advancing him. And his name was Tim. And I said, well, Tim, I said, because then I started getting the emails. Thank you for what you've done for my company amidst the worst recession where people are like, I mean, some people were suicidal. I mean, I'm not kidding. And
right, get it.
Yeah. Builders were like, whatever. And so I went and I looked at the analytics on his website and I'm like, well, go figure. Like the people are searching, they're asking questions. What is it? Do I need one? How does it work? And I'm like, I think we're on to something. And so, I said, hey, Tim, I said, instead of sending the people out, because he kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he's like, I'm booked out 6 weeks. I'm like, great, good news. And so I said, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you put one in your lobby? And I'm going to change your website. And I'm going to say, come on in, touch it, feel it, see it, hear it. And while they come in, you've got a captive audience. And by the way, there's financing available. And by the way, there's $1,500 in rebates. And he went on that year, Joe, to sell 368 ductless systems in the wood section of the, for a long time. And so that's what got me going. And the personal story involved there is he reached out to me to help me save his company. But guess what? He saved my company because I was wondering, how the heck am I going to make it through this recession? Right?
Right.
Forward, and there was this big event in Portland, and they were going to give the Dealer of the Year award out. Now, in Portland, in the Pacific Northwest, you got big contractors up in Seattle, big contractors in Portland, and here's this guy in Vancouver, Washington. It's like the ugly stepsister, right? And so I get invited to this event. I know that my guy's winning. And I'll never forget sitting at the lunch table, and these big Seattle contractors came down, and one of the guys was bragging. And he was like, we sold 40 of these ductless heat pumps. And I'm eating like my macaroni and cheese or whatever they were serving. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness, people are not even going to know what to do when my contractor wins. So, hey, later after lunch, we want to recognize the contractor of the year for all of the Pacific Northwest. They introduce him. They goes up on the stage, and this company sold 365 systems. You could have heard a pin drop. And knew in that moment that I was on to something. And from a marketing point of view, I like a niche, right? And from that day forward, the brands were there, and they're like, it was like, hey, can you make me the guy in Portland? Hey, can you make me the guy in Eugene? Hey, can you make me? And I was like, it's such a good story. It's like a win-win story.
Yeah, because both he benefited and you benefited to the same degree. You were both on the ropes and together. Isn't it figure that everything we accomplish together is because of other people that we associate, the relationships we get, and that's really part of it there, right? And I tell you what, Michelle, I've been championing this cause for a long time because I feel like everybody from the contractors that I know in Massachusetts and around the country, even in Minnesota, the ductless heat pump solution with the hyperheat technology definitely is the way to go. I say that the future of heating and air conditioning and comfort is wrapped up in that solution, and it's getting better and better every single year. It's just improving, and it's going to flywheel into someday. Somebody will say back 20 years from now, like, do you believe that people actually used to drag the air from that bedroom down to the garage or basement, heat it and cool it, bring it back up there? I can't believe they even did that. Yeah, it's like so the way that you work with ducted solutions is such a far reach from the technology and how much more comfortable the new ductless solutions are and things like that. So we're on the same page there. What are 3 things that you can say that in the experience you've had with all the contractors you see? Obviously, there's a lot of people are like, yeah, we do some ductless, like the guy who said he does 40 a year. It's like, that's really nothing. I mean, the people who are dominating are doing 3 or 4 a day of these things, right? There's some people like that doing that kind of number. So what are the 3 things? Number one, what's the number one thing you think that a contractor needs to do before they can start dominating in this ductless market?
Yeah, that's such a good question. Let me just say this too. It's about the opportunity. And so in the HVAC industry, I've asked many of my clients, like, when was the last time something exciting happened in your industry? And some guys go, never.
Right.
And so here we have this exciting product, and like you said, it is the wave of the future. And when you think about from the homeowner's point of view, and what has even happened with appliances, right? Like every appliance in the home is sexy these days. Stoves are like so unbelievable, right? The refrigerator sings to you and has lights and filters the water, and it's got all these bells and whistles, and even the washer and dryer comes in colors and it's exciting. And then this heating and cooling equipment has been this box that you put in the garage or the basement. So number one, pay attention to the fact that you got something really, really exciting to talk about. So the first thing I would say for contractors listening is just make a commitment to ductless. This product is not going away. It is the ultimate problem solver for homeowners. And guess what people were doing over COVID, right? There's never been a better time, and it's never too late. And I'm going to get to that in number 3. It is never too late if you're still sitting on the fence. No, make a commitment to it. During COVID, what did people do? They were locked down. They were home. So now all of a sudden, everybody's working out of the house. All the kids can't go to school. You can't do what you want to do. And everybody's crammed into the house. And all of a sudden you go, oh, well, I was going to put my office in that back bedroom, but it's too cold. Or, oh, this, or maybe we should convert the attic, the basement, the garage. So people's lives are changing. And the ductless heat pump, the ductless mini split is the ultimate problem solver for these scenarios.
Let me just say about the commitment part of it. That's an important element. I recently have a house in Playa Vista, California here, right? I had a ductless. I had my first evolution of ductless was back. I had a house in 2008 that we purchased up in Northern California, and we did do the house in ductless because I'm like, this ductwork is no good. I need to redo this. I had an office, and it was just a remote difference. We fixed it, and it was amazing, right? So here in Los Angeles, listen to this though, Michelle. Last summer, I said, well, it should be easy because ductless should be a mainstream now at this point. That was back in 2008. Well, I said, I'm going to just get 3 estimates from ductless contractors to do ductless in every room of my house. And it should be easy to get a price. I'm going to find the one who's got the best service combined with the best expertise and who I felt comfortable with, right? Well, I thought I could get 3 estimates, but it wasn't until I got the 5th estimate. I had to call 5 people before somebody would fully commit to saying, yes, I can do ductless in every room of the house. Like all of the first 4 people tried talking me out of it. You believe this? Like they were like, they're like, oh, you don't want to go ductless. It's not going to be. They come up with every excuse in the world. I'm like, dude, I want ductless in every room of the house. I want to have my master bedroom. I want to have personal control of every system. And then, truthfully, in my air conditioning, and listen, after we did it, my air conditioning bill was like $572 a month before. Now it's like $72 a month. It's like crazy how much different it is in the efficiency of it and the comfort. But bottom line is, it took me 5 people.
Wow.
So they finally said, oh yeah, I love doing ductless in every room of the house. I'm like, you do? That's because that's all I was looking for. Somebody who had the experience and who understood what I was looking for and would listen to me. It took 4 people who were uncommitted to get to the one who finally was committed. You believe that?
I can believe it because there's some old thinking that happens, right? And sometimes what some contractors have said to me is like, why would I put a ductless system in when I make more money and I can bill 2 or 3 days for the duct work and everything else that I need to do? And so that's an old way of thinking. And pay attention to the trends, pay attention to what's happening. And the other thing about that, Joe, is one of my Oregon contractors back in the day, the owner of the company told his sales team, I don't care what the customer wants. They were a carrier dealer. I don't care if they want air conditioning. I don't care if they want a furnace. We're going to introduce ductless into every presentation we do. And guess how they grew their business? It's just an option. Like, hey, you could have this furnace and we could do it this way, or we could do it this way. And maybe it's a hybrid solution, right? Maybe you get a little bit of both. But you're spot on with that. Pay attention.
I would say the top 2 options should be ductless completely. The middle 2 options could be ductless hybrid, with maybe a ducted on the first floor and ductless on the second floor. And then the bottom 2 ducted, if you want to go that route. Let people say that's the economy. Because truthfully, that's old, obsolete technology. Yeah. And that's how it should be put up there. Hey, there's the bottom option, which is just a furnace and AC with the current duct system, which is obsolete. That ductwork's obsolete, but we can do it. It is obsolete, but if you want to get the current technology and the future technology, it would be at the top 4 there, right? Wow, that's really great. Well, I knew I was going to enjoy talking to you so much. Let's go to number 2. What's the second thing? So number 2, you're committed now at this point. What's the second thing? People to show that commitment. The best way to show that commitment.
Yeah. So I have to add one other thing though. Sure,
go ahead.
Why to get committed? This customer. The people that buy ductless heat pumps,
Mhm.
They have the highest level of satisfaction of any other product in the HVAC industry. So if nothing else, if you like working with happy people, and guess what happy people do, right? You go in, you put the ductless system in, they saved money, they're more comfortable, they don't have the noise, this, that, and the other. Happy people refer you. Happy people give
Mhm.
you reviews. Happy people, it's like, how many happy people do you want in your business? So that's one other reason to be committed to ductless, because they're just so happy. They're so satisfied with you, and they're more likely it's different, right?
Well, that's exactly me. I am the happy customer. I'm the happy consumer because I finally have personal control of every room of my house, and I'm not dragging the air through
Hello.
leaky ductwork with fiberglass coming into my home. This is it just feels so much better. Okay, Michelle, I think you got us on that one. It does both mean happy customers on that. You didn't one up me, but you did get me on that one too. Because I am the happy customer. I am the consumer that's happy with it. What's number 2 in this commitment? After you're committed, what's the second thing to do?
Well, get trained. So, don't underestimate the training. So get yourself affiliated with a good brand. The brands are out there advertising ductless. The brands are out there with co-op advertising. So make sure to get yourself trained. Now, I always advocate for the qualified contractor, and because it's so important. It's like, it's not so much the equipment, it's the installation of the equipment, right? So get your team trained so you know how to properly place the unit, you know how to recommend the right product, you know how to properly install it, so that you get that happy customer referring to you. So the training is super, super key.
It is. It is. I think that's one of the things, the holdups, is that my guys don't know how to fix this stuff or whatnot. I think the manufacturer provides so much free training on this, and they would be happy to teach your team and invite you to the training sessions that they have for free. And truthfully, I do agree that it's malpractice to install this stuff if you don't know how to service or install it properly. You want to make sure it does have the high, which I'm sure that the contractor you dealt with said, you know what, I'm going to have my team get on board with this and make sure they understand everything we're trying to do. Does that make sense?
That makes 100% sense. And I'm fighting right now. Can you see the sunlight coming in this window?
Yeah, it is starting to backlight you just a little too much there. That's okay. Thank
I'm
God
trying.
your audio. It's like it's like a holy vision happening in the. We have like a lot going on there. All right, that's better. Here you go. You got a little front lighting there. There you go. It's better. All right. So number 2 is the training. Let's make sure that the team is trained, the manufacturer training. And truthfully, what I found is that, ductless, although it is more money to purchase the product, it's less money to install the product. Doesn't take as much time. Like I know one of my contractor friends in Massachusetts, Rick Picard, he sells his average sale is about $32,000 per average opportunity. He goes on. Ductless is a major part of it. He says that he can do an entire house for about like $59,000 on one of the smaller homes, and he finances it. He said those homes get done in a 1.5 day. They don't take, like a ducted system would take 3 or 4 days to get that. You want to replace a ductwork, it's going to take all week. You put a ductless system in, it's going to take like 1.5 days, maybe a day and a half. He says that he has a carpentry crew that comes in and installs the consoles, and the electrician puts the outside unit in, and then the refrigeration guy, the air conditioning guy, comes out for a half a day to connect the lines and start it up. So it is a much easier installation when you do learn how to get trained on how to do it. So I definitely agree with that. So you're shifting the burden from labor and materials being a little bit even to where the materials will be more, but the labor will be less, much less than it would be when you're using a ducted system at that point. So that's one of the financial benefits of it as well. Finally, number 3, once you've got the commitment fully and once you got the training, this is where you come in now, right? And now, so how do you let people know that we have made this commitment and my team is trained, and that we are now seeking to be the top ductless solution in our market? This is really what everybody came here to learn from you, Michelle. So go ahead, let us know how you help contractors get to that front page in front of all the other. You cut in front of the line and get in front of the line in front of all the other contractors when they search for this solution.
That's exactly right. So let's just acknowledge the fact that people are searching for this, right? And what are they searching for? They're searching for the ductless contractor, the mini split installer, the ductless air conditioning. They're searching in a lot of different ways. Now, the thing that's so important is I want to really differentiate. So in this industry, contractors, maybe they're web developers, whatever, are overly focused on a website. And what I want to say to the listeners is your website is just one asset. And so the game that most people play, and let's just say the game, the playing field is the internet search, right? Where you see what you expect to see. 3 paid ads, 3 on the map, and room for 8, 9, 10 contractors in the search. Now, I always say, let's play a smarter game. And this is why I'm no longer doing websites in my company. I took all of my expertise and we're working off the website. So there's on-site SEO and there's off-site SEO. If all you're focused on is your website, then you're playing the same game as every other contractor in your area. You have a website, they have a website. You're doing SEO, they're doing SEO. You're paying for ads, they're paying for ads. And all you can do is like shift yourself a little bit within the visibility that you would get 8, 9, or 10 contractors on the first page. Ta-da. So I like to say, own your search. Own the search in your backyard. And the way that you do it is you get found off your website. Google, it's an algorithm. Google expects to see you off your website. Where? In a place that's highly relevant and high in authority. So the viewers can't see this, but I sent Joe and an example of what it looks like. So if you've got a web company that you like, you keep them. Right. And I saw your interview with Tim from the Hook agency. That guy builds some really, really nice websites. You stay with your web agency that you have. And then I start multiplying with the offsite SEO. So I created the Ductless directory because I know Google's algorithm is based on the fact. I know I look like an angel here again.
Okay.
Hang on.
Oh, heavenly, it's that backlighting, right? It's okay.
There's a window above my head. I didn't
That's not a problem.
plan for that.
Okay. I still see you clearly. And thank God it is a podcast, so most people will just be listening.
Okay, good. All right. So the offsite element is so critical because it's part of the Google's algorithm. So back in the day when I was like, gosh, when we were building websites, I was always looking in my team, we have to get backlinks to the site. We have to help Google find you someplace else. And there was this aha moment, right? Where I went, well, why don't we just build it? Because otherwise we got to go blog someplace else. We got to go write an article someplace else. We got to go purchase backlinks. Every digital agency has to do this. And I thought, you know what? Let's just create the highly relevant, high in authority thing that Google wants. And so when a contractor wants to participate, we've already done all the work. So the vehicle is the Ductless directory. And by the way, in the Ductless directory, it's not just a listing that you get. The Ductless directory is a full-on website. Remember, we're a web development company. So it's a full-on website where I educate the consumer. And because of my backstory and because I have such a heart for contractors, I know that they have a lot of competition. I know that not every contractor is a good contractor. So we vet the contractors that come in. I only let contractors come in that are attached to a brand. We look at your reviews and we make sure that it's a high quality contractor. And when you come into the Ductless directory, I advocate and promote you like crazy. I educate the consumer like, listen, I know you might want to go shop price and I know you might want to go shop brand, but the most important step is get your contractor straight. So I have something off your website that already advocates for you. And if all you did was you got a listing in the Ductless directory, you would double your exposure. Here's the key. For every first page result I get for a contractor, I push a competitor off the first page. Now, you want to take some next steps with me? I have a YouTube channel. And I showed Joe how our YouTubes, it's not the video, by the way, it's the authority that I have with my channel. So when we create a video that advocates for you, it pops to the top of the search. And guess what? I push another competitor further down the page. And so, right? And so now I've got a press room. When I write a press release focused on the contractor, guess what? It shows up on the first page of search and we push someone down. So I like to ask this question is why do people go get 3 competitive quotes? And the answer is because they can. In a traditional search, there's 10 contractors, right? And they just pick them, or they pick 3 off the map and they go get their quotes. But when my program comes into town and my contractor is on the first page of search, 3, 4, 5, I showed Joe an example of how one of my contractors is on the first page of search 9 times. And so the way that you grow your ductless business then is you own the search in your backyard. There are rebate states, and these rebate search terms are so important to you. People are looking for the company and the contractor. They're out there searching. So owning the search has never been more important. And then finding somebody that will give you that third-party validation is so key. Does that make sense?
It really does. And actually, I am I really am a huge proponent of this, which I call niche marketing. You got your general website, which has got everything on it, like our people, our trucks, and it gets to be a little watered down, truthfully. And what you're doing is exactly what I did back in the 90s when I was like, you know what, we need to send up we tried to find unique solutions to problems that people were having in our neighborhood. This is before ductless, obviously. But it was ductless was just coming into place. They had that kind of a thing. But we would find like water on the windows. We say, we knew like an HRV or an ERV would be the way to ventilate the house to where it would eliminate that problem. So we just say, tired of wet windows. And we find neighborhoods that have that, and we would net dominate. So really, in a way, you've taken an idea, which I believe is really important, that you really dominate something by dominating a niche, like we do at Service MVP. If you look up Joe Crisara, like we have our Service MVP website. If you look up Joe Crisara Service MVP, number 1 comes our website, but number 2 comes a website that's made by our podcast producer, Jim Clark, who's a radio pitchman. That's like, if you search Joe Crisara, that will come up like right there at the top. And even sales training, that podcast comes up before our own website does. So the podcast comes up more specifically about sales training for contractors, more so than our own website, because Jim has done it where he's got the third party element.
Yes.
That thing, he just knew how to create that SEO better than we did, because it specifically covers the things that people are looking for, where we had to put everything on the website, the videos and all that kind of stuff, right? So I really agree with what you're saying there, is that you can keep the website. So key I'm hearing is keep your website and do that, but get this other element, which is really drilling down on this one solution, which is kind of reverberating that commitment that you are starting with. That first thing we started with, that commitment to show people that you are fully committed to this solution. And like, if I had looked that up, I looked up ductless Los Angeles ductless Culver City. I looked it up down here where I'm from, and really nothing came up. And truthfully, everybody I called, I said 4 people who advertised on the ductless, from Mitsubishi and from LG and these ductless. So I went to their websites, looked it up. The people who are on Mitsubishi website, 4 people tried to talk me out of it. And so I finally got somebody who would be committed to it. And so even when you go to the ductless website, it's not going to be as good. The Mitsubishi is a watered down thing. It's not going to be where you are finding people who are fully committed to ductless and only featuring those people. Does that make sense? That to me is genius. That's why I think is genius about it.
Thank you. I did.
You'll take it, right?
Yeah, I'll work with it. But let me tell you,
because that's it. You want to be associated with you doing this. You're associated with a group of people who understand they're part of the same tribe in a way, right?
Yes.
And when you get mixed in with other people, it makes everybody look bad when you're mixed in with people who are watered down. But when you're mixed in with people who are fully committed,
specialists,
it's strong. You're stronger. I believe that's true.
And let me tell you something about this search. So, my digital agency is 20 years old, right? So we have some expertise and some wisdom. My whole program is SEO reverse engineered. But let me tell you this, the first person in a market to stake their claim in ductless is the company that's going to win. Google is looking for history. So when Google delivers a search result, they're always like, what is the best company to present? So the the more that you plant your flag and you let Google find your website, let them find you on the Ductless directory, you just established yourself. You take advantage of our video marketing. You just established yourself as I'm the guy. Every time you do something, you're going, I'm the guy in this market that is the Ductless guy. And you get rewarded for it when you play, I like to say, play a smarter game, right? So tap into all of these things.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That really is. Well, Michelle, any other final thoughts you'd like to share with contractors before we wrap it up? I would say a good podcast starts on time, but a great one ends on time.
Yeah, that's good.
And give us a few any how do people get a hold of you, and how do they get more information on how you help contractors dominate the ductless market?
Two things. I want to share a formula with the contractors, right?
Go ahead.
Okay, there's so many contractors out there, you tend to all look the same. So the first part of my formula really has to do with getting a good brand. And so there are the folks that kick charge. And I would just tell you, when you're really well branded, it makes all the other marketing better. The second step is to get a really good web development company. I did listen in on your podcast with Tim Brown. I looked at his portfolio. That's a nice web development company. Then you want to get off your website, somebody that specializes, that can multiply and play well with your digital agency to work together on your behalf. But when we start generating all those leads and all that activity, you need a process and a plan. You need some sales training. And this is where Joe comes in. And so I like putting together a formula like that, like really from start to finish, that's 100% guaranteed that that contractor is going to win. Okay. So
great. That's great. Well, thank you for making me part of the formula. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you are. You're impressive, Joe. I got to tell you. So contractors, if you want to find out about me, you're going to go to theductlessguy.com. There you're going to be able to see some articles, some videos, and some examples of what I do. I also have a gift for your listeners. Can I give them a gift?
Sure. What is it?
I'm kind of nervous because I know you got a big audience, but we're giving this gift. Anybody that comes my way, if you want a competitive analysis of what's happening in your marketplace, you're going to tap into my 20 years of experience. I'm going to tell you, this is what's going on in your marketplace. This is who's going to win. This is what you need to do to set yourself up. And then for the first 10 contractors, well, first of all, you can take advantage of my founder special. So you can get your listing in the Ductless directory. It's just $37 a month. $370 from the year. You get the offsite SEO. You get the third-party validation. You could double your exposure. So you can take advantage of the founder special. But the first 10 contractors, I'm going to gift you a featured listing in one of my blog posts. And in the blog post, yeah, I advocate for you. So people are familiar with do it yourself. One of my blog posts is it's DIY. Don't do it yourself. This is why you need the contractor. So you could get featured in an article like that. So now you've got social content to go out and push your market. So that's the other part, is get found and then push your message out in your marketplace. So
the ductlessguide.com is where you find
the guy, the GUI, the Ductless Guy.
Ductlessguy.com, GUI, ductlessguy.com. I'll look that up for sure. And definitely thank you for the free gift for our listeners.
Yes.
And thank you for being part of the podcast. I really appreciate you, Michelle.
I had so much fun conversing with you, and I look forward to working with you, Joe. It's going to be good.
Me too. Definitely. I would recommend anybody call Michelle and explore those services. And I think you'll find it's a winning thing, and really a winning thing to get on the map for a new solution. Because when you're there first, when I would say if you're there first, you now become the presence in that market. You become sort of like the stakeholder in that market that really kind of got the foothold first. So that's really what I believe. Yeah. Michelle, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Joe.